to these just
the Talk 107.3 studio.
Right.
And
if we do have food, it's cold.
Maybe we could do a bougie something. I have bougie tendencies.
Right.
I don't know what I did.
I
was loving life like
wines and dines. Brian never takes us to Geno's.
I never go to Geno's. No, I went to Geno's about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't paying though.
Okay, well,
I'd pay.
Okay,
I can pay. We can
Franz.
do bougie pay.
All right,
I don't know why you're going to sit here and hold me to task. I hear about more lunches after the fact than anybody in this town.
Well, your availability is always the issue.
No. My availability is rarely questioned. It's assumed my availability is always an issue.
I'm willing to have a bougie experience with Brian Haldane at the Borghardt law firm expense.
Okay.
We should do like bougie Mondays, or what day of the week would work best with bougie?
Bougie.
Bougie Fridays? Probably Fridays.
Yeah,
Probably
bougie Fridays. Yeah.
But you'd have to, everything's got to be alliteration in this world.
Right.
So it would have to.
Bougie Brian Fridays?
No, it just, we got to find another.
I'll work on it.
Franz's Fancy Friday.
There we go.
Fancy Franz.
How about top stories and trending? You know what? I would start off with this one. Just came across from our news partners at WBRZ. There's a silver alert out there right now. A silver alert issued for a 78-year-old man last seen leaving a hospital in Alexandria late Tuesday night. Louisiana State Police issued the silver alert for the elderly Alexandria man seen being discharged from a local hospital. 78-year-old Ronald Reeder was last seen Monday around 4:04 p.m. LSP was then asked to issue the silver alert late last night. Reeder's 5'10", approximately 160 pounds. Our news partners at WBRZ have his picture up there if you wanted to give it a look and see. I know we're over in Baton Rouge, not Alexandria, but if you wanted to see if you recognize Mr. Reeder. Starting in May, Ascension Public Schools plans to test new security measures at 3 different schools as part of a pilot program. School officials told students at Dutchtown High, Lowry Middle, and Pecan Grove Primary to expect changes in the school arrival process, which includes, but is not limited to, a weapons detection system, among other new installments. Multiple Metro Council members and former Mayor Broom have been subpoenaed to testify before a grand jury looking into alleged corruption inside Baton Rouge government. The sources told our news partners at WBRZ, they said council members Rowdy Gode, Denise Amoroso, and Brandon Knoll were among those who received subpoenas. None of them are being accused of wrongdoing. What does it actually mean to get a subpoena? That's one of the topics we'll cover in Legally Served. East Baton Rouge Parish Metro Council has called a special meeting to appoint a new parish attorney. The council announced it will vote on whether to appoint John McClendon to the role at Thursday's special meeting. Well, this is why we were on the road yesterday, y'all. Turner Industries is building 2 nuclear fabrication facilities in Louisiana, one in New Iberia, one in Port Allen, that are expected to create 1,000 direct new jobs. The 1,000 direct jobs will be split evenly between the 2 sites, with 500 at each location. Louisiana Economic Development estimates the project will also generate 1,378 indirect new jobs, bringing that total to 2,378 new job opportunities across the state. Oh, by the way, following up on that announcement with the 1,000 new jobs and the nuclear energy summit going on in New Orleans, Governor Jeff Landry will be joining us at 7:35 this morning.
Good stuff.
Now, this time he's on the schedule, not just popping in.
Not just walking in.
Governor pop in.
Does the governor get to just pop in whenever he wants?
Whenever he wants. Literally whenever he wants.
How low down the chain do you get to do that? If you're an attorney general, do you get to just pop in?
Yes.
Lieutenant governor, maybe not so much.
I don't know if every attorney general will get to do that. I know Liz gets to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not trying to put you in a weird spot here. I'm just curious about
there's this weird dichotomy of I like her and I'm scared of her. Like, you're not going to tell her no.
I understand that.
All right.
We're not going that route, but I understand.
You're going a completely different route than I was, but okay. I was keeping it professional. Yes, Billy has the carte blanche. Tim Temple, yes. Probably some more out there too. Go ahead. What we got trending?
Following last night's state dinner, King Charles III and Queen Camilla are scheduled to spend
It's just Camilla.
Camilla.
Yeah.
Camilla, right? Are scheduled to spend the day in New York City.
What a bunch of fun. That just sounds like a hoot.
Right? I like New York City.
But here's the thing, though. It's New York City in 2026. I would much rather envision a New York from like the mid-'80s, the pre-Giuliani New York. I would rather the police academy in New York City, where you can have King Charles and Camilla walking up and down the streets being accosted by, what was his name? Bobcat Goldthwait. That's
those days.
A scene from Police Academy. That's the New York City that I want.
Right?
Die Hard 3, New York City.
Yes. They just walk right past Bruce Willis wearing the sign.
Yeah.
The price at the pump continues to rise as the war in Iran keeps going. Diesel is now over $5 a gallon in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't like this.
I know. I paid for regular gas, not for diesel, obviously. I was paying $3.69 a gallon, and I opened up my Upside app, and you know what I got back on Upside? This is why I hate those commercials.
$3, maybe.
1 cent per gallon.
That ain't nothing.
I know. It
barely doesn't help. I know. Maybe what takes off $1 after you've saved everything. It takes off $1 off at the pump.
If I had 100-gallon gas tank, I saved 15 cents.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you don't accrue points. It doesn't work like that.
What do you mean?
Meaning like you bank it, and then when you go back to the pump, you could like if you haven't used them at all.
I've got a good $50 in my account right now.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But it's like they'll offer you a price per gallon to get back, and it was 1 cent.
Man, okay. We have a shark alligator roll story that actually involves both. Viral video is circulating showing a shark and an alligator leisurely swimming together at a very popular tourist spot in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
I saw this one. This one.
So they're buddies now.
Yeah.
Our sharks and our alligators.
We are so doomed. When they team up, we are all so doomed.
Do they team up or do they fight each other?
Well, they were just chilling together, so I think they're teaming up here.
Man, that's not good. We go to Florida in July.
Well, they're up in South Carolina right now, and I think they like it there.
Keep them there.
So I know.
You got to watch the boa constrictors in Florida.
Oh,
I thought it was pythons.
Really?
Well, pythons, boa constrictors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the jellyfish. My poor son got stung by one. So now he's terrified. He's like, Mom, when we go, I don't want to get in the water. So.
Because that's really the same level as being eaten by a shark.
Right.
Can't piss on the shark.
That's what I was about
It doesn't
to
fix
say.
the problem. No.
We're at 6:13 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Let's take a break. Come back. We got sports next. I need to get my coffee.
Negotiating IRS debts. There are a lot of new deductions and opportunities in the big, beautiful bill, and the Bryson Law Firm knows how to use them strategically. We've been staying on top of the tax changes in the big, beautiful bill, and we're ready to help our clients take full advantage. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Bryson Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm. The Bryson Law Firm, LSP filing number LA2519071.
Wesley Financial Group, not a law firm in Chuck McDowell, definitely not a firm. This is Chuck. If someone talks you into buying something really silly, and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Brian, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us some space to just breathe.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save. Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
There is a new traffic pattern on LA 30 between I-10 and LA 3251 to accommodate the latest phase project. Traffic along the St. Boulevard is being removed and the roundabout Robert Wilson's house and Landry is being
Speaking of lunch, you got lunch plans Friday.
Do I? I don't think so.
This report is sponsored by Blindsford.com. Hi, I'm Kyle from Blindsford.com.
I have. I do not have lunch plans, but I have to find out when the first game is for the AAU tournament, which I don't think will be until the evening.
Okay.
But we're playing in beautiful Santa Mall.
With our advanced skin treatments at Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. Look now at myuniqueaesthetics.com.
This is Ramsey personality John Deloney, and you're listening to Mornings with Brian Haldane.
I did try to get a Haldane girl to babysit for me this weekend.
Christy said
Yeah.
Carrie's got exams coming up,
It's all good.
and Abby's got basketball.
All
I
good.
appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah.
How about it for the LSU baseball Tigers last night? Hitting that midweek win, 12-4, your final score out at Alec Box Stadium. LSU baseball posted up. I mean, that. I know it's a midweek game. I know it's an in-state school. I know it's a Southland Conference school. But Southeastern is a decent program overall. So for LSU to accumulate 12 runs on 12 hits, I'm going to take that as a win. We need to take any win possible right now as a program. Amongst those 12 hits, LSU did. Dadgummit. Amongst those 12 hits, LSU did have one home run, came in the fifth inning, courtesy of Mr. Curiel. If you would, please, 5.3.
3-1. Absolutely hammered high in the air. Right of the batter's eye in center field. Going back to the track to the wall. And Curiel takes this one out of here. Home run number 7 for the Tigers center fielder. And that'll extend the lead 6-4 LSU.
And they would go on from there. And what I love about only having the one home run was it meant you put together a number of hits strung together. That pushes runs across. So it wasn't just one lone hit shouting in the night. Meanwhile, on the bump, Daniel Cowan looked good. He actually threw for 4 innings, had 7 strikeouts. Here's how the last strikeout sounded.
Payoff delivery. Swing and a miss. Got him with the off-speed delivery. Robichaux finally goes down, and Cowan records strikeout number 7 on the night. Gets a great hand as he makes his way to the dugout of the Tigers.
So 12-4, your final score last night. That was, of course, Chris Blair on the call for the LSU Sports Radio Network. LSU will host South Carolina this weekend. 6:30 p.m. is your first pitch on Friday. Of course, it'll be on the air at 6 o'clock on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Meanwhile, LSU softball straight up blanked McNeese last night. 16-0, your final score there. Closed that one out in just 5 innings. LSU softball will host Auburn this weekend. So you have both baseball and softball in town on the same weekend. Plenty to do if you want to get out there and enjoy a little bit of that. In the meanwhile, LSU women's basketball got themselves a new signee in Chloe Larry. Chloe Larry was originally from Louisiana, from the Shreveport area, went to Parkway, if I'm not mistaken, before heading off to college. Well, she's coming back home. She is now signed with Kim Mulkey to play for LSU. All right, we need to check the Fox Business Report, and then traffic, and then Legally Served is coming up next.
And this is the Fox Business Report.
So this morning I was going down Government.
Okay.
And you have a train.
Yeah.
The train.
Yeah.
That just kind of stops.
Yeah.
And it stops at
It has to unload at Exxon.
5:30, 5:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is probably the best time in the world for them to do that.
Mhm. Yeah. Highly recommend not taking Government Street. North Boulevard has an overpass. Oh. But that train, like, if I know I'm running a couple minutes late, I'll go ahead and pivot over to North Boulevard. Although it doesn't normally come on a Wednesday. Yeah.
I had to do
Monday
the
and Thursday.
back up, U-turn, go over the north. Is it North Boulevard?
Yeah.
North Boulevard
overpass,
and then get here. Yeah. It was nice.
I gotta post up the new. I'm not doing that today though, because I gotta be at the Capitol all day.
Fun times.
Yeah. Well, I'm helping out Guarantee Health.
Yeah, you are. I don't even know what that
We're
means.
It's Guarantee Health Solutions. That's Guarantee Health Solutions.
Healthcare and hospitality. I love your hustle. It's nice.
Not a whole lot going on out there. I-12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs, as you would expect, has a little bit of volume, but not. It's barely worth reporting on. 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish is looking good right about now. 10 eastbound coming back across from westbound Rouge is golden, as is 110. And there are 0 incidents reported on your surface streets. So if there's anything out there I'm missing, Ray's going to have it for you in 10 minutes. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center. .623 at Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along, getting you to Legally Served in exactly 60 seconds. Got to ask you about your IT provider. Who's your IT provider? Don't answer. It was rhetorical, because you don't need an IT provider. You need an IT partner. Keeping your business technology secure and stress-free. That's what a partner does for you. That's what 180 Pros does for you. You can give them a call at 225-330-2200 or check them out online at 180pros.com. The difference between a partner and a provider, you're going to get same-day response time if something goes wrong. Look, they have the latest in technology, the greatest in techs. They know everything there is to know possibly about cybersecurity and protecting your network. But in the off chance that your network goes down, and I mean like goes down hard, do you want someone to have to come in from out of town to fix it? If you're a small business owner, every minute that you're down is a minute you're not making money. Give them a look, 180pros.com, or call them 225-330-2200 for 180 Pros. Time for Legally Served. How are you, Franz?
More importantly, how are you guys?
Splendid.
I'm just dandy. Just dandy.
Good.
I woke up yesterday or day before to see that some of our former leaders in Baton Rouge were getting subpoenaed as a part of a probe for public corruption.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is it selfish of me? Is it selfish of me to see that and think, oh, potential business?
Hang on now, because this is exactly where I want to start.
I think this is where we should start.
Okay. What does it mean to be subpoenaed?
So a subpoena is a court filing or document that says that you need to show up somewhere. You need to do nothing more than to show up. A subpoena ducis tecum, fancy Latin phrase. A subpoena ducis tecum is a subpoena where you're ordered to bring something, documents.
Okay. Like show and tell?
Records. Yeah, show and tell. So a subpoena requires nothing more than showing up. It's normally associated with being a witness.
Correct.
This is the best part about what's going down right now in our city. There's this public corruption prosecution that the AG's office is doing. By the way, the only state entity that can give immunity to a witness in Louisiana is the Attorney General.
Okay.
These people are not suspects. They're witnesses. But these people could become suspects based on what?
Their answers to questions?
Their answers to questions. So at all times, I don't know why I'm yelling. I apologize. I'll bring it down a little bit.
You're all right.
At all times, witnesses who are subpoenaed enjoy a constitutional right against what? Self-incrimination. So, former Mayor Broome gets a subpoena from the AG's office to come talk, testify. Could be it could be at a grand jury proceeding. It could be at a court proceeding.
Yeah.
She can say, I'm coming, but I'm not testifying. I'm exercising my right to remain silent.
And if she exercises her right to remain silent,
everybody will assume that she had to have done something illegal,
right,
even though it's just a constitutional right to remain silent.
Right. Now, what about the council members?
Same thing.
Well, let me give some backstory here as well. Okay. Yeah. And I'm reading this from our news partners at WBRZ because for some reason my advocate password still isn't working. The subpoenas come after former Capital Area Transit System Chief Administrative Officer Perlina Thomas and contractor Jake Kolar were implicated in a purported scheme in which Thomas and Kolar allegedly made fraudulent and plagiarized reports about pre-agreed upon contracts to defraud cats of tens of thousands of dollars. Councilmember Cleve Dunn Jr. was also indicted. Now, that's another word that pops up from time to time and has a clearly different meaning. Indicted.
Cleve Dunn?
Yeah, no, indicted.
Sorry, Cleve.
Additionally, former Broome Administrator Courtney Scott and Veronica Mathis, whose company assisted Broome's Safe, Hopeful, Healthy Baton Rouge program, each face allegations including conspiracy, theft, bribery, money laundering, and public contract fraud, while Scott is also accused of malfeasance as a government employee. Malfeasance is one of my favorite words.
So I can institute or begin prosecution of an accused individual in one of two ways. One, with the exception of life offenses like murder, I can just formally charge them through what's called a bill of information. There's a lot of technical legal terms going around today.
That's fine. That's the point of legally served.
Bill of information. I'm choosing to charge Brian with a crime because I believe I can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed a crime. I can also go to a panel of people that make the decision for me called a grand jury. And the grand jury can either issue what's called an indictment. They can say, hey, I need more information. And we call that preadmitting. We're not going to say no. We're not going to say yes. I need more information. Or they can do what's called a no true bill. No true bill is, hey, we don't think you have enough here to prosecute this person.
Okay. We need to talk about next what it takes to reach that indictment part. Because what we've, the old adage is, grand jury can indict a ham sandwich. So we're gonna take our break for news, traffic, weather. When we come back in Legally Served, we're going to talk about what it actually takes to reach that indictment part. Before we get you news, though, it is Talk 1073's Power Day for the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Hop on talk1073.com today. Make your donation now, please. We are moving through the Radiothon pretty quickly this year. We've actually narrowed the time in which we're doing it. So please do not wait. Do not hesitate. Get in. Talk1073.com. Help a dream come true for a Louisiana child battling a life-threatening illness.
So, Matt and Ange Decker write on the thread, if you can go, then plead the fifth. What's the point? Good question. The subpoena is a legal requirement to go, but you just have to show up.
Right.
Now, generally, as a practical matter, if I'm representing a witness and they're subpoenaed and they're not going to testify, I'll say, hey, look, Bree, you subpoenaed Brian. Brian's going to come, but he's not going to testify. Do we really need to jump through these hoops? And Franz is either going to say, yep, get your witness here, or get your client here, or he'll say, file some kind of legal challenge to my subpoena. Or he'll say, you don't have to come.
No, you make him come anyway.
You got to make him come.
Got
to make him come publicly and say, I'm pleading the fifth.
Right.
Because like I said, when someone says, I plead the fifth, everybody in the media is going to lose their mind. Because the assumption is, well, if you're pleading the fifth, you got something to hide. You must have done something.
Correct. That's perfect.
Construction officially gets underway in Lake Charles today on the new $2.3 billion I-10 Calcasieu River Bridge. Calcasieu Parish Police Jury President Brian Abshire.
I-10 is an integral corridor for commerce in the United States. Without our bridge, if anything, it's a screeching halt.
The House Education Committee approves legislation that will give Louisiana public colleges the authority to increase tuition by as much as 10% for all graduate, professional, and specialized programs and any other program identified as high cost. Lobbyist Norby Chabert generated from the higher tuition costs would be put to good use.
I had a really good meal last night. Nino's, my favorite restaurant. Nino's is very good.
We had, when Christy graduated from LSU, that's where we had a dinner. Brought the fam, like her fam, mom, dad, sisters. Nino's? Reasonable, actually. Quite reasonable. But Nino was still in charge back then. So this new couple that took over Nino's,
Very nice people.
Love them.
They came to the table. Very nice.
Yeah.
Hey, you're worth it. You're worth it. It's not expensive. It's fair priced for the food that you're getting.
It's not ludicrous pricing, right?
It's fair priced.
Okay.
Hey, you're both worth it.
You know where I haven't been in forever? Texas Day, Brazil. Has that fallen off the map?
It's not fallen. It's still popular. Service issues are affecting it like everybody everywhere else. And so the salad bar is freaking amazing.
Okay, but the salad. So I'm torn on this because the salad bar is the amateur move.
You go,
like,
if
what
you're
are you
going to
doing
go
getting a ball of mutts
no.
when you can,
if you're going to get the meat, you don't even get the salad.
Right.
But if you're trying to almost eat healthy, the salad bar is actually a very good salad bar.
And you could just get the salad bar.
Right. And it is amazing for sure.
Cheaper.
But if I'm going to Texas Day, Brazil, I want A, the meat sweats, and B, to be wheeled out on a cart like Hannibal Lecter. I want them to have to wheel me out like Hannibal Lecter.
I think it's the swords that really do it for me.
That might be a whole other issue.
Can you take a first date to Texas Day, Brazil, or is that too much? It's not like Ryan's Steakhouse, right? It's a classy place, but that's a lot.
To quote Jack Nicholson in The Departed, you can learn a lot about something by watching it eat.
That's for second date material. Maybe even third date. Yeah.
Hey, you can take her to Texas Day, Brazil, but you can't say you're going to need the protein.
Really? Another piece of meat? Really? Maybe you should flip that over to
every
bread.
Every time they bring the chorizo around, you should say, "I got your chorizo."
I love Brazilian sausage. Yeah, you do. I don't think I would take a first date to Texas Day, Brazil. I don't think I would do that.
That's not the best version of me. Like that's
I'd be worried about like I don't think I'd take a third date to Texas Day Brazil.
I mean, I attack Texas Day Brazil
Special
like
occasion.
it's a competition.
That's more like a 6-month in kind of relation.
Oh, you're celebrating your birthday. You're celebrating your birthday. Let's go Texas Day. I care about you enough to spend a little bit of money so you can have a
Good
whole
morning,
bunch
Christy.
of steak.
Welcome in, boo.
No,
And-
first date material, walk across the street, bin 77.
Dragos.
Is that place still open?
It is.
They moved to Perkins Row.
Okay.
Yeah. Love the new space.
Okay.
It's awesome.
And you sit out on the patio and you get the view of the fountain. I love it.
You know.
Kim says I DoorDash into my house all the time. Talking
What?
About, Texas Day Brazil.
How you DoorDash and all you can eat?
You can tell DoorDash or the app how much weight you want. I want a pound of sausage. And they will charge you by weight. Which is actually not, if you think about it, like let's say you were having a fajita party at your house and you wanted a bunch of steak pre-cooked. That would be Texas Day would be a way to go. I would go to the Mexican grocery store myself and get some carne asada. But
Ideal Market
or
the La Morenita. The hell are we talking about?
Grand jury indictments. You're welcome.
637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, which we're live on Facebook every single day, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care, you know that that discussion took a completely different path. But back on the air, welcoming everyone else back in. I don't say welcome back in. You didn't go anywhere. We did. Welcome back to us. But back on the air, as we were heading into break, I was asking this question. What does it take to get an indictment? The old adage is a grand jury can indict a ham sandwich. So, Franz, since this is legally served, and we call on you for expertise, what does it take to get an indictment?
So the legal burden of proof for the prosecutor seeking an indictment is probable cause. More likely than not, this person has committed a crime. Not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but more likely than not, this person, it sounds like guilty as F, but it's really just probable cause. It's the same legal standard as to just arrest somebody. Okay. The reality is, as a former prosecutor, I will tell you, if I want to indict somebody, I'm going to indict them. It does not take much. You can, and I quote, indict a ham sandwich.
So
you can indict a Texas Day Brazil piece of steak.
Okay, but once you've got that indictment,
you still got to prove it.
Per your own words, more likely than not. So while you're innocent until proven guilty, doesn't that kind of flip the burden though?
It does.
Makes it harder.
Are
to
you
prove your
suggesting that our system sometimes does a constitutional burden shift to the person who's accused? Because indictment sounds like.
Well, by the way, this is going somewhere because we've got another story to cover.
So the indictment sounds like, wait, a group of citizens believe that you committed a crime? That sounds like a jury. Well, it's called a grand jury.
Right.
It's a different kind of jury. By the way, here's the flip side. It's just the prosecutor and the grand jury proceedings and whatever witnesses the prosecutor puts on. I don't get to be in the grand jury if my client's under investigation. I don't get to
even if you have
cross-examine.
like definitive evidence that would put a stop to it.
You would hope that a prosecutor would take exculpatory evidence and present that to the grand jury if, in fact, they were going to a grand jury. If you had
Not
evidence,
up to the prosecutor though. Like that's not his job.
It is
Her job.
up to the prosecutor to present evidence only when they believe that a crime has occurred or that they believe that proof beyond a reasonable doubt they can prove that somebody did something. If they believe that there is evidence that would exonerate somebody, what we call exculpatory evidence, then they have a moral and ethical obligation not to pursue prosecution if they in fact believe that evidence. We get into a pickle sometimes. And the problem is it's like a sporting event. You get entrenched. If you're a prosecutor, sometimes you really get entrenched and you believe that somebody did something and you're all in.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we're like that, we get affected by certain bias.
Yeah.
Cognitive dissonance. I don't want to hear evidence that suggests that your client Franz may be innocent. Now, good prosecutors want to do the right thing.
Sure.
Now, what we're really talking about this morning is you subpoena the former mayor,
right,
or council people.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have any rights? Well, they have the right to. They have to show up to wherever you subpoenaed them, but they absolutely can say, "Hey, Liz, I'm not testifying. I'm exercising my right to remain silent because you telling me I'm not a target doesn't mean that I may inadvertently say something that makes me a target." Now, Liz Merle could give immunity for that testimony.
Right.
And
However,
she's the only one who can give immunity for the testimony. Hard to plead the fifth when you have immunity, right?
Well, but also when you look at the nature of, like, if you're bringing in the former mayor, what are you giving the mayor immunity for? Like, is there somebody else?
I suspect that she's being brought in to say, you didn't authorize this person to do these illegal activities, right?
Right.
You didn't tell her it was okay, right?
And that's ultimately where I'm going with this entire segment, with this entire line of topic, is this is a headline only because it's going to draw clicks.
Right.
This is standard.
She knew what she was doing.
This is standard. No. I'm not saying from Liz's perspective, from Attorney General Merle's perspective. Attorney General Merle's perspective, this is business as usual. I'm saying from the media's perspective. This is. Oh, we need to run with this. Yeah, it's probably a big nothing.
So
because they're just going to go in and answer questions.
Here's the bigger thing: if they don't show up, then the prosecutor can move for them to be held in contempt.
Okay,
which is a possible jail or fine.
So if they don't show up, the natural assumption there is they didn't show up for a reason too. Same as pleading the fifth.
Subpoena is a judicial order to show up somewhere.
Right.
Misdemeanors. When you get a misdemeanor summons or a traffic ticket, we don't think of it this way. Those are summons. You have to show up to court if it says this is your court date. Okay. Now, if I want to challenge, there's a legal mechanism to challenge a subpoena called a motion to quash. Quash. Quash, not squash. Right. Quash. I would file it saying, hey, you don't have a basis to quash. You don't have a basis to subpoena my client.
Right. Quash. That's
quash.
17 points on words with friends.
Quan. So show me the money. Anyways, yeah, this should get interesting. Now, if it's a grand jury subpoena, everything they testify is confidential under the cloak of grand jury proceedings. If it is a court proceeding, they're subpoenaed to show up. If there's a hearing, if they show up, they may have to testify in front of a room of people.
When it comes to pleading the fifth, I know there's no limit to it.
I always imagine if I'm going to plead the fifth, I'm going to have a piece of paper that has F-I-F on it. Chappelle style.
Yes.
Fifth.
Well, I mean, what was it? Carlos Marcello famously pled the fifth 152 times.
Plead it.
Yeah. So there's no limit to it. So
I cannot put someone on the stand that I know. So this is where it gets real awesome. In a proceeding, I can't put someone on the stand that I know is going to perjure themselves or plead the fifth so that I can create a presumption that they did something wrong. Because if you're in front of a jury and you plead the fifth, what happens? Jury immediately thinks what? You did something wrong.
So you can't, as the attorney, say, if you're guilty, plead the fifth.
You can't do that. The jury gets a jury charge.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, it's some crazy look. So the only thing that trumps the constitutional right to remain silent is immunity. And this is where it gets really good. The state can give immunity, but not immunity for federal crimes. So if the testimony may trigger a federal crime, I can still say, I appreciate Attorney General Liz. I appreciate, we're not on a first basis. I'd love to have coffee with her. I'd love to hang out with her. Attorney General Liz Merle, I appreciate you giving me state immunity, but my client may also testify in such a way that could trigger a federal crime. So kick rocks. Fifth.
Okay, so even when offered immunity, you could still plead the fifth. Now,
if it would
at that point-
trigger a federal crime.
Okay, no, but that changes the ball game, Franz, because that
Right.
means once you're offered immunity, if you're still pleading the fifth, that kind of tells everybody, yeah,
I don't want
this
to
is-
testify.
Right.
Well, here's the other
But the
kicker.
why is the more
Is
important part.
getting
of the point.
immunity, does that affect your credibility? You're only testifying so that you can save your own hide, so that you can get immunity from whatever bad acts you did. Why should we listen to you?
Okay.
Why are you special? Why do you get a deal and this person doesn't? See how this little rabbit hole goes?
No,
and
but-
sleazy attorneys.
I know it is, and part of this is though that there's other parts to unpack. Is that, and we got a whole other topic to get to.
I'm all about unpacking.
That's just because you get immunity still doesn't mean you did something nefarious.
Correct.
It means you don't want to open the door to the
Correct.
possibility that you're going to get tripped up. In
I
your
didn't do
words
anything wrong, but
from
they
day
gave,
1 to day 2.
I didn't do anything wrong, but the only way the state could force me to testify because I don't want to testify is by giving me immunity.
Right.
Boom.
But like if on day 1 you tell the prosecutor there were 6 people involved, and on day 2 you tell the prosecutor there were half dozen people involved, now your story's changed. Like that's kind of technicality you want to avoid. So we got to break. And we're going to break, and we're going to start a whole new topic when we get back. District Attorney Hiller Moore wants to revoke the bond for a suspect. We'll talk about that next. Stella says, so fun question. These rules for grand jury are assumed Louisiana rules. How do they translate to the other 49 states?
So great question, Stella. Generally, they have uniform rules with regard to grand juries are confidential. You can subpoena witnesses for grand juries. Generally, grand juries, in fact, you don't really have to record the grand jury proceedings, although I would do it. Richard Sprinkle says hi.
Hey, Richard.
Hey, Richard, he says. Although anyways. So fun stuff.
Byron says, I always wanted to be an unindicted co-conspirator.
No, you don't, Brian.
That's
No, you don't, Byron.
a Christopher Moltisanti, as it were.
Byron,
Whatever happened there.
Nino's isn't free. God, it was such a good meal. I had a steak, and then my dessert were hot baked cookies with ice cream. Hot, fresh cookies. We should go. You and I should. I mean, we're not going to go to DC. I tried to get Brian to go to DC with me. We should go to Nino's. You have to bring Christy to Nino's too?
No.
Oh, okay. We can go to Nino's.
Okay.
You know what would be an awesome trip? Rocco, Brian, and Franz in DC. Who would kill who first?
I would be an unindicted co-conspirator.
Out of the 3 of those people, you'd probably be okay.
Yeah, probably.
I can't make it to Rotary today.
Well, that's
I'm doing Cord TV.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing there's no Rotary today.
There's no Rotary today?
Rotary comes home is this week, so. Yeah. Did you sign up to go to someone's house?
No, I did not.
Then you're good.
I have an okay house, but I don't know that I would be comfortable hosting a bunch of Rotarians at my house. You've been inside my house. They got some stuff going on in my house. There's a lot of Catholicism
no, it's
going
not
on.
about that. It's about
I don't know how I feel about having a whole bunch of people I don't know that well
Thank
being
you.
in my house.
Yeah. And I'm not super good with
And it gets
being in somebody else's house.
The
that I
more
don't know.
volume you have, too, the more uncomfortable it kind of becomes. If
Rotary Comes Home is not really my bag. Where the hell is the other article?
I also have a dog.
And
she's Maggie, sweet little Maggie. She ain't little. Oh, Butterball.
She's tall, ain't she?
She's a mid-sized schnauzer, mini schnauzer, and she to quote the vet, she's not missing meals.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
The vet fat shamed her in front of her. Ain't that some shit?
Fat shamed is another term that needs to go away. Pointing out that someone's fat is not shaming them for being fat.
It's a jerk move.
No.
That dog is perfect.
Why is it relevant unless you're a fitness trainer or a doctor to look at someone and say, you're fat? If you're not,
I'm sorry, did you not say it was the vet that said that?
Yeah. I'm just saying in general, though. Like if I just walked up to you and said, hey, you're not missing any meals, I see, that would be douchey behavior, right?
You know what blows my mind? I'm considered obese on the BMI scale.
Okay.
Which is crazy to me. Because when I think obese, I think morbidly obese.
Like me.
No, my
No, I'm obese.
Jabba Nobata. I'm not saying you're Jabba the Hutt. I just wanted to do the
literally
Jabba
just
noise.
said.
I just wanted to do the Jabba noise.
Six 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Diving back into Legally Served here in just a second. Got to remind you about the folks over at Neurojust. Neurojust. I spell it out for you because I want to send you to the website. Because at the website, you're going to learn so much more about TMS therapy. What's TMS therapy? Glad you asked. It stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation, and it's here for those who are suffering from anxiety or depression and have been treatment resistant. If the sit down, talk it out therapy doesn't work for you, if you don't like the way you feel on the antidepressants, on the prescription drugs, if you find yourself watching commercials to take prescription drugs to make the other prescription drugs work, you might want to give TMS therapy a try. It's more like physical therapy for your brain. The results are phenomenal. You learn more by visiting neurojust.com or give them a call if you wanted to, 225, because they're local, 330-7382, 225-330-7382 for Neurojust. All right, diving back in, Franz, we got another topic to talk about here. District Attorney Hiller Moore wants to have an Estruma High School student who was previously arrested after a gun went off during class put back in jail. According to court documents, the district attorney's office filed a motion on Monday to have 18-year-old Marcus Washington's bond revoked. Washington was originally arrested back in February when a gun went off during a class he was in. The bullet sailing over a student's head and hitting the ceiling, documents show. He was ordered a $50,000 bond and required to wear a GPS ankle monitor. Now the district attorney says, no, I want him in jail. Let's talk a little bit about what the law actually is, because District Attorney Hiller Moore knows this stuff inside and out. So if this sounds egregious,
you're missing the next part of this. So,
which is,
why are we revoking his bond?
Oh, sorry.
Because he was
documents show that Washington charged the ankle monitor for only 7 of the 31 days that he wore it.
He's part of an alleged part of a new crime.
So I was going to get to that.
Okay.
But I wanted to set up what the law actually states.
So a monitor is generally used for, hey, don't go around this person.
Mm-hmm.
And they program the monitor, the GPS device, to trigger if you go within a certain distance of their house or their place of work, not the person themselves. Okay. So we're clear. The monitor doesn't rattle off and send a signal if you just go around that person in another place that's not programmed in.
Mm-hmm.
The other reason is, hey, you're under home incarceration. You need to stay at your home or go to work. And those are the two places you can go to and from. And that's why you have the monitor. The monitors are, and I'm oversimplifying this, the monitors can be programmed to set alerts, or the monitors can be monitored. The reality is a human being cannot monitor these things 24 hours a day.
So, and by the way, this is where the story goes from there, is that days after that hearing, Martha Odom, 17 years old, was killed. 5 people were injured during a shooting at the Mall of Louisiana. A representative with Magnolia Monitoring told the DA's office that Washington had been in Greenwell Springs all day Thursday, but he turned his GPS monitoring off around 12:30 p.m. Following the shooting, authorities quickly tracked down Washington and Livingston Parish, where he was arrested for allegedly having a gun, drugs, and other violations of his bond. Now, I want to go back to the original revocation of the bond. This is, I tend to believe that Hiller Moore is going to do everything within the law to be as tough on everybody as is humanly possible. Like no room for leniency at all.
Are you suggesting that the district attorney, as in some other parishes, is going to look at the monitoring company or a third person and say, you failed to monitor this person and you're partially responsible for the death that happened at the mall?
No, I'm not saying that, because that was later on in the discussion. But since we're going to go there, let's go there.
I think
Does the monitoring company have some level of responsibility?
At most, the monitor company could be responsible for what we call negligent homicide, if you can show that they acted grossly negligent in not monitoring this person properly. However, the problem with that, a defense attorney is going to have a field day with that, because who shot Marvin? The shooter did.
Right.
Not the monitoring company. And by the way, here's the other problem. Let's say the monitoring is working as it's supposed to. Okay? It's working perfectly fine. You're making him charge it. That monitor being fully charged is not going to stop him from violating the monitor, and is not going to stop him from shooting somebody.
Thank you. Which leads me up to, are we about to start seeing, forget the ankle monitor. We know ankle monitors don't work. We've seen it repeatedly now that ankle monitors.
It's not Kevlar.
It's a representative with Magnolia Monitoring told the DA's office Washington had been in Greenwell Springs all day Thursday, but he turned his GPS monitoring off.
Right.
That, if that is even a possibility, then like the old SNL sketch, straight to jail.
So if I'm angry and I'm looking at this like, hey, why wasn't he arrested for turning his monitor off? So let's play those dominoes out. The monitoring company has to alert the DA or the court, hey, this person's in violation. That person has to be assigned a court date to address the violation. Okay? They don't just get arrested in the street for not charging their monitor. They have to be brought into court. That takes time. And what I think is going to happen is, more likely, you may see laws. Our legislature loves making laws. It's kind of what it does. It makes
they're
laws.
called lawmakers for a reason.
You may see some laws being made that creates better safeguards, in as much as there can be safeguards, which I don't know that there can be. You could see higher bonds. You could say, I'm not going to let this person out.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That's what I want, because that is clearly how these dominoes particularly fell.
This one. Let's play this one. He accidentally discharged a firearm, or he shot a firearm.
Right.
That was crime number one.
Right. No. He willingly brought a gun to school
and accidentally discharged
it. The whole purpose of this is, when Governor Jeff Landry is having a press conference, talk about when people have no disregard for being in a public place.
Thug.
Right. That's my point. Is the governor's right, the DA's right to revoke the bond?
Oh, I think his bond has to get revoked.
Yes.
So the question becomes, why is someone not complying? Sometimes the monitoring devices have issues, but they can be serviced, but not charging it.
Sometimes a criminal's just a criminal, and we have to stop dancing around this BS. How about that as a possibility?
Okay. Arrest him. Let's do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Franz Borghardt is in favor of us arresting people. I wouldn't have a job otherwise.
Exactly.
That said, these are bond violations. These are not new. Now, is it a crime to violate the terms and conditions of your bond? No, it's a bond violation, and your bond gets revoked, which is what the district attorney is trying to do.
And when your bond gets revoked, where do you go?
To prison.
To jail.
It's not the judge's fault. It's not the monitoring company's fault. It's the individual for not complying with their conditions.
He is attorney Franz Borghardt. We do Legally Served every week. Always appreciate you, brother. Who's the guy from SNL? Oh, Fred Armisen. Straight to jail. Ankle monitors work for what they are used for if the service provider does what it's supposed to do. He turned his own monitor off. I don't I don't know how to combat that.
So I'm suspecting that what Byron's suggesting is when he does it the first time.
Mm-hmm. You mean the guy who brought the gun to school?
Yeah. You alert the court and the prosecutor he is not complying. So by the way, once the monitor alerts everybody, if you think about it from a liability standpoint, their hands are clean. They're not law enforcement, right? They're a private entity. So once Franz, who monitors, says Brian's not complying, what liability does Franz have at that point? What was I supposed to do?
As the monitoring company?
Yeah, zero.
No, that's all you can do is alert the district attorney's office. And now we run into the problem of the DA's office working on 1/3 of the budget they're supposed to have is expected to go back out and pick this guy back up again.
So the reality is think about how many people are out on bond and being monitored. That's a lot of people.
Hundreds.
By the way, these things are expensive. They're like several hundreds of dollars a month.
Here, let's talk about the tech then, and this might be a better question for TJ Morse. Okay. Can the ankle monitor be directed straight into the real-time crime center so that BRPD can know if someone's out of bounds?
But you still have to have somebody monitoring that app or software and doing something about it. That's what I'm saying. I know you're making faces right now
because if my table's ready at TGI Fridays, that little buzzer they give me goes off.
You have a Ring camera. When someone comes to your front door, it alerts you.
Right.
But you have to be at the phone, seeing the phone to get the alert.
And have a BRPD officer in the real-time crime center. That's, to me, a way better straight-to-the-source answer.
I'm okay with that. Let's do it. Let's party. There's also monitoring that happens with your phone and not an ankle, where I have to check in on my phone and the phone pings a GPS.
That's a waste of time, too.
Well, you can give the phone to somebody else.
Right. Byron says turning it off is a I just jumped out. Turning it off is a violation and the proper authorities are alerted. I was in this business for a few years. I understand that, but turning it off is a violation and nothing freaking happened. Later, brother. Appreciate you. So basically ankle monitors are pointless and stupid. I mean, if you could turn it off and you're not picked up immediately, yeah. And I'm trying to remember the conversation that I had where somebody was arrested and they had 5 ankle monitors on them at the time. All dead. Morning. That works so much better than the Lysol. Oh. 7:05. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Breland producing, starting off the 7 o'clock hour at 73 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. On our way to, as you just heard Balin say, on our way to 88 before it's all said and done today. Busy hour this hour. Well, first of all, thanks again to Attorney Franz Borghardt for an awesome legally served right there, getting into the nitty gritty of just the real definitions and the true definitions of a number of legal scenarios. This hour, State Representatives Jessica Domangue and Brett Geymann coming on in our next segment. Governor Jeff Landry at 7:35. Back to the legislature at 8:05. Representative Mike Melerine is going to join us. He has a bill addressing expert witnesses. We actually talked about it on Monday. We'll pick that conversation back up again. And then we'll talk with Ray Gregson, who heads up the River Parishes Chamber of Commerce. That's all still to come on the show. Right now, though, we start off your second hour with top stories and trending. A Honduran man arrested in 2017 after raping a woman, slashing at her throat in Baker, was sentenced to 20 years behind bars. On Monday, Manuel Mejia pleaded guilty to attempted second-degree murder and first-degree rape. He was also facing a second-degree kidnapping charge, but that charge was dismissed. Starting in May, Ascension Public Schools plans to test new security measures at 3 schools as part of a pilot program. School officials told students at Dutchtown High, Lowry Middle, and Pecan Grove Primary to expect changes in the school arrival process, which includes but is not limited to a weapons detection system, among other new installments. Multiple Metro Council members and former Mayor Broome have been subpoenaed to testify before a grand jury looking into alleged corruption inside the Baton Rouge government. Grabbing this one from our news partners over at WBRZ. Sources told BRZ that said council members were Rowdy Gode, Denise Amoroso, Brandon Knoll. They were among those who received the subpoenas, as did Sharon Weston Broome. None of them, by the way, are being accused of wrongdoing. East Baton Rouge Metro Council has called a special meeting to appoint a new parish attorney. Council announced it'll vote on whether or not to appoint John McClendon to the role at Thursday's special meeting. Turner Industries is building 2 nuclear fabrication facilities in Louisiana, one in New Iberia, one in Port Allen. They're expected to create 1,000 direct new jobs split evenly between the 2 sites. LED estimates another 1,378 indirect new jobs will come along with this as well. So that was the governor's big announcement yesterday at the Nuclear Energy and Supply Chain Summit. He'll join us in about half an hour to pick it up from there.
Whoop, whoop. Following last night's state dinner, King Charles III and Queen Camilla are scheduled to spend the day in New York City.
Yeah, just bumping around, having a good time.
I know.
Maybe take in a Broadway show.
Lion King or whatever.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't like them in 2026 New York City. I want them in the 1983 New York City. I want them in a pre-Giuliani New York City. I think the scene's funnier.
See, when I went to New York in 2021, I liked it. It was good. A lot of rats in the subways, but all in all, good time.
I mean, I would like to go back to Police Academy, New York City.
Right.
No
riffraff.
No, very much riffraff. I'm very much Bobcat Goldthwait out there,
Complete opposite. Okay.
Yeah. Today it's cleaner. I shouldn't say today, but post-Giuliani New York and pre-Giuliani, pre-Broken Windows New York was 2 completely different places.
Something you would see on a movie.
But yeah, I would like to see, them be put in a situation where Carrie Mahoney has to save them.
Love it. The price at the pump continues to rise as the war in Iran keeps going. Diesel is now over $5 a gallon in Louisiana. God bless.
I paid $3.69 a gallon yesterday for gas.
I think I paid over the weekend $3.80,
Yeah.
$3.79, something like that. What I used to be able to fill up my Highlander for $38. Now from empty, 50 cents.
Wow.
Going on 60.
Yeah.
It's that way too high.
It's a lot.
Yep. We have a shark alligator roll story that actually involves both. Viral video is circulating showing a shark and an alligator leisurely swimming together in a very popular tourist spot, Hilton Head, South Carolina.
And they're right by a boat dock. They're right up next to a boat dock.
Just hanging out, being chums.
Chilling.
That's scary.
I know. When those two team up, when sharks and alligators team up, By the way, if anybody has seen the movie PCU and you know the shark alligator rule in this show, this is basically the Kane Hackman theory, right? This is the Kane Hackman theory for the shark alligator rule. When you have the shark and the alligator in the same story together. My thesis is proved. And
You
now
finally have it.
Now that they're teaming up, we're doomed. We are doomed.
I know. And yes, I'm going to Florida in July, and hopefully they stay up there near South Carolina, but it's scary a little bit. I don't like getting in the water to begin with because of the algae and the green. But yeah, to know our sharks and alligators are hanging out with each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's enough sharks in Florida to begin with. So
yes.
You don't even need the alligators. 7-11 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're heading into the legislative session in about 4 minutes. Do need to remind you about the folks at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. They have locations and it's been a minute since I've told you about the locations. They have locations in Clinton, in Greensburg, in Zachary, actually 2 in Zachary, in Denham Springs, and in Brewley. They're in those individual communities because they are a community bank. And when you have a community bank, you have a banker. You have a member of your community who's sitting across from you. You shake hands with. They can walk through where you want to be on the road to retirement, where you want to be when it comes to borrowing for a new home, borrowing for a new car, starting your child's first checking account, whatever the case might be. You have a banker. You're not pawned off on some nondescript decision made in Midtown Manhattan. Been a community bank since 1897, remaining true to that mission for well over 100 years. Learn more at landmarkbankla.com. What did I? Yeah, get rid of the Lake Charles story. Come on in, y'all.
Good morning, my fearless leader.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. Good. You know Chairman Geymann?
Yes, I do. It's been a minute, but yes,
Yeah.
I do. All right, y'all are on these two.
Okay.
I'll leave that jacket there. It's fine.
How are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing? Look, I'm just going to put this back here. This thing is.
How are you, sir? You good? Good.
Well, it's just you have to carry so much stuff when you're up here.
Might as well have one bag.
I know. People are like, wow, that's a huge bag. Yeah. I feel very high.
Do I?
I feel very high.
Yeah. As soon as I sit, because it stays in line with the camera.
Yeah.
So.
That's fine.
Yeah. $7:14. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to dive into the legislative session. We have State Representatives Jessica Domangue and Brett Geymann in with us. Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have both of y'all in here today. There's a specific bill that y'all have coming up today that we're going to get to, but I want to start with the 10,000-foot view because this legislative session, it's been feeling kind of smooth, actually, comparatively speaking, right? How are things going?
Geymann? Yeah.
Our committee, the one that Representative Domangue and I are on, is facing some tough issues. Not necessarily that they're tough, but that they're complex and they're moving really fast. And so I think we've had a really heavy workload, and we have had to deal with some serious.
For the audience's sake,
yes.
Which committee?
I'm sorry, House Natural Resources Committee, where all the energy comes through. We have nuclear issues, water, carbon capture, oil, gas, you name it. It's just a whole lot of things that we've been dealing with, in addition to hunting and fishing and oyster and shrimp. And so it just goes on and on and on. And so it's a challenging committee, but it's a great committee. And so our workload has been pretty heavy.
And I mean, once you start introducing things like oyster and shrimp, now you have to start crossing over into things like coastal restoration.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to deal with all of it. We actually had to approve the coastal master plan very recently, which for District 53 has a lot of great projects in it, working with Chairman Dove on the land bridges. There's just so many different topics that go through House and Senate Natural Resources. I think personally that they're the most important committees for the entire state of Louisiana because of the complexity and just how many issues that we're actually dealing with as far as driving and moving state of Louisiana forward.
Well, I mean, if you think about it in terms of how we present ourselves on a national and global stage, what do we have that most states don't? A ton of natural resources. What's the name of the committee? Right there in it. So yeah, you're right. You will kind of be the lightning rod for an otherwise calm session. I would imagine everything's funneling through y'all.
I would say, I think for the near future, our committee will continue to be the, as you said, lightning rod, but really because of all the things that we're having to face, and they're all great things to talk about and discuss. It's just very challenging because people have strong opinions on both sides of the issue.
Yes. Sometimes a little bit more so than is needed, which we've seen. All right, let's dig in on is this HCR 80? Is that what we're looking at today?
Yeah. So there's actually going to be two instruments that we're going to discuss today in committee, and I just want to, give some thank you to Chairman Geymann because him and I were not always on the same side of this debate, and we've really kind of come together and looked at common ground and looked at ways that we can really work together to drive this forward and to move Louisiana forward. So I just want to thank Chairman Geymann for that, because about a year ago, I'm not sure if I would have thought we would have been right here working together on a project. So it's been very reassuring to see that we can all be grown-ups and really work together. So looking at the debate and we're talking about the debate surrounding carbon sequestration and land rights and just kind of the meat and potatoes of what we've really been talking about in the last few months. I started looking at it through the lens of, the real issue here is rogue landmen that are going into communities and using a bully pulpit to bully residents into signing documents that they don't necessarily know that they're signing. And so we do know that it's happened in several areas. And so speaking to several people about this, we decided that we really need to look at some landman rules and regulations. Well, unbeknownst to us, last year in the Senate on Senator Reese's bill, there was an amendment that was put in that was the Landman Bill of Rights, or the Landman Code of Conduct. I'm sorry, I misspoke. And of course, we didn't get a hearing on it because we don't always necessarily get a hearing on amendments that go through the Senate. So what I'm presenting today as the HCR is the Act 414 of the 2025 legislative session that was authored by Senator Reese, Representative Amity, Representative McCormick, Representative Owen, and Representative Shammerhorn. And it essentially lays out the code of conduct of landmen when they go into communities. And that's what I'm going to discuss today in committee. And then Chairman Geymann is taking that a step further with his bill today, and we're really going to put some skin in the game as far as making sure that people are accountable.
We've got Representatives Geymann and Domangue in with us talking about the legislative session, Natural Resources Committee. Okay, I want to start off with this, though, just to make sure that we're all moving in the same direction. Aside from a Billy Bob Thornton series, what is a landman?
So a landman is the individual that goes and he's like the salesman, right? And so he goes to Chairman Geymann's house and he knocks on the door and he says, we're looking at, doing some industrial work in your area. And there may be a potential where we may have to either run a pipeline through your property, or we may have to use part of your property as a drilling site or a storage facility. And so they're kind of the negotiators between oil and gas and the landowner. And they really are an independent contractor. They don't really work for oil and gas. They kind of work independently. So they go out and they're negotiating these land agreements. But what happened in the past is they didn't operate in a responsible manner, in the fact that instead of them going through the steps that we've now laid out, they went in and said, if you don't sign this piece of paper, we're going to steal your land, essentially, right? We're going to expropriate your land. And that made people very afraid. And if I was living in these areas and that happened to me, I would be very afraid as well. And I'd be very defensive and I wouldn't trust anybody in the process.
Right.
So realizing that was happening in these areas is why we want to focus so much on this code of conduct, because they're the first point of contact with any of these projects. So if that first point of contact goes sour, well, then the rest of the negotiations are not going to be very well. So we want to make sure that everything that the landowners are in agreement that they are getting compensated for the use of their land, that they're that they're actually doing this on their free will, not feeling like they have to because somebody's threatening them.
So I feel like y'all have found one of the missing pieces of the puzzle in the overall argument that have had sides pitted against each other here. When a landman employs these bully tactics, let me start with this. If he says, if you don't sign off, we're going to take your land, could he?
In some cases they could.
Really?
In some cases they could. They don't take your land, they take use of your land through expropriation. But they have to take you to court. It's a long and lengthy process. So the companies don't really want to do that, but they use it as to bully them, like Representative Domangue said. So if they come to you, you don't know any better. You're just a regular guy, and they want to sign a lease with you to run a pipeline through your property, and you want to get a good agreement with them.
Oh yeah.
But then they throw this at you. Well, hey, here's a price. Here's an offer to you, and you go, well, that doesn't look like it's a fair offer. Well, if you don't sign it, then we're going to use expropriation, and we're going to come after you for your attorney fees. So that's the threat that we're trying to prevent.
So the bully could go that route. Do we have examples where that has actually happened?
Yeah, they have. I mean, that's there for a reason, because sometimes you have to use it. If you can't find a clear title, there's a lot of reasons why.
No. Yeah. I want to walk down the scenario of the property owner who has the property owner's rights of that property. When we have clear title, when my house is mine and that is my castle and that's my land.
That's correct.
Have we seen where that's been expropriated?
There have been times where companies have expropriated the use of somebody's land.
Okay.
There have been times. It's very rare.
Right.
But it's a threat that we don't want them to use it as a threat. We want them to use it only as a last tool. I mean, we would prefer they never use it.
Right.
But natural gas pipelines are a public benefit. The federal courts have ruled that, and so they do have expropriation authority. But we don't want them to use it. We want them to negotiate a fair and honest contract. And that's what Jessica and I are trying to do, is to make sure that they act in good faith. Because most people don't know all the rules, and they don't know what their options are.
Well, no, nor why would they? I mean, until now, this has been kind of this dormant thing that has just sat there, because we've had pipelines in our state for so many years.
Correct.
That the property owners today are not the same property owners that were there when everything was put in the ground.
Right. They
in the
let
first
pipelines
place.
come through before. But Brian, when somebody comes to me, like Jessica said earlier, and threatens me, the first thing I do is bow up and nope, you're not doing that to me. And I'm willing to fight you to my death. That's the attitude that you get.
No, you saw it in my eyes just now as we're talking about this. That's exactly where it goes.
But in reality, the landowner really just wants a fair deal.
Right.
Treat me right, pay me for what it's worth, and be good stewards while you're on my property. Don't tear it up. Don't disrupt my life. And that's really all anybody wants.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like you said, though, in the broader sense of the discussion, you don't want the exception to define the rule. Yes. And that's what this is doing. So what kind of good faith are we setting up here?
So this one specifically is just talking about the fact that they have to have so many meetings. They have to be able to have these negotiations. But rather than really focusing kind of on what we did, I think we really need to focus on what Chairman Geymann is going to be doing today as well, because he's bringing it a step further. And so he's going to put a little bit more skin in the game. So I'm going to present this just to talk about what we've already done and that we recognized it last year. But then, of course, we're really going to put a lot of focus on Chairman Geymann's bill today.
Brian, one of the things that the department doesn't have any enforcement mechanism. So when they do act in good faith, there's really no way to punish them or make them act in good faith. So what our bill today...
Punish them being the landman or punish them being the owner? Okay.
The landman. So today we will put in the opportunity or the authority for the Department of Energy to be able to punish them in the sense of revoking their permit or making them come to a rehearing or a fine and penalty.
Yeah, and the other thing that we noticed too, and that we've learned as well, is landmen in the state of Louisiana do not have to be licensed. However, they have to be licensed in other states.
Mm-hmm.
So before this legislative session is over, we're looking at an avenue to be able to license landmen as well. And so we're trying to negotiate that right now as well. So that may come in the next week or so also, just because it's an unlicensed person who's trying to do land acquisitions in the state of Louisiana. And that just doesn't seem like something like business that we should be doing in the state of Louisiana.
I mean, when you're talking about a state that until very recently you had to be licensed to be a florist, that is so bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, I would equate it to a real estate agent, not in the same terms, but similar. It's like if I'm dealing with
on
real
steroids.
Estate, yes.
Yeah.
So we want them to have some sort of certificate or license so that they can be held accountable and lose that license and the ability to come back into our state and do business. So we just need some teeth, and we're going to put it in today, and we're going to hopefully make these future negotiations much more pleasant.
Back to the top of the page where I believe Representative Domangue, you had said the landman is not associated with like the bigger company that's going to be doing all the project and whatnot. What protections built in for those companies to make sure that hey, I don't know this guy. Like, what is there a level of protection there that makes sure the people who are doing business in the state don't have a reason to fear the business they do?
So they're an independent contractor. So like any other independent contractor, if you have a roofing guy who goes and use bully tactics to try to get business, well, you're not going to do business with that guy, right?
Right.
So it's just kind of right now, I guess it's word of mouth with these people.
But you want to put it on the website.
Yes, exactly. So so part of the amendment that I'm putting today on Chairman Geymann's bill is that they will have these fines that are going to be given to them, and they will also be put on the Department of Natural Resources website as bad actors who we do not necessarily want to do business with. So right now that's not in place. So we recognize that that's an issue. And so this is just, we're just trying to problem solve here and try to really kind of get all the dominoes in order so that we can really solve this problem that's happening with these landowners.
And that's HB 841?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're a nerd like me and you score this stuff and you keep track of it, HCR 80 and HB 841 are the ones we're keeping eyes on today. Hey, we've got just over a minute left in the segment. I kind of want to talk process for just a second, because when people look at the legislature, they see y'all get in a committee and they think everybody just everything is just created on the spot right there. But the truth of the matter is a lot of legwork and collaboration goes in on the front end, right? I mean, you two got together to hammer this out. How many other people have been involved in the contribution and collaboration with this, which is a long way of me asking, is this going to fly when it gets to the other side?
So for us and for myself, and I can speak for my relationship with Chairman Geymann, this has been about a 2-year process to be able to get to where we are.
Yeah.
Just because, having these conversations, and I have to remind people, we're up here 3 months out of the year. So this is not, so when we get here, this is when the work happens. Right. And so when we go home, we're doing our own, the other jobs. And so, cause I've had a lot of people come to me and say, well, if y'all knew this was a problem, why didn't you fix it? Well, sometimes that's how these problems are fixed.
Right.
So we've worked with, pretty much everybody, industry, landowners, landsmen, other members of the committee, Speaker de Villiers. We've literally had conversations with everyone. And so we have absolutely been working collaboratively across this entire process to make sure that we have a really good piece of legislation.
Do we know that on the Senate side it's friendly already?
It's going to be friendly.
Okay. Love that. All right. Well, we know what we're following today. Representatives Geymann and Domangue, thank you all so much for a couple minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Blew right past ABC News right there, but I thought it was worth it because this is one of the bigger and hotter topics that have been, there's so much misinformation out there and so many hot tempers. So I figured that was worth diving in on. We're going to pivot now, sticking with energy, though. The Nuclear Energy Summit going on in New Orleans. Governor Landry joins us next. Oh, I get to bang on the live. It is 7:36 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Waiting to connect with the governor. Governor Jeff Landry slated to join us right here. And normal, you know what? I bet this is on our end because the governor is almost, oh no, there he is right there. Super punctual, to be sure. There is a nuclear energy and supply chain summit going on in New Orleans right now. The governor called this thing together. He actually sat in with us for about 10 minutes yesterday, maybe 5. Okay, go for it. He actually sat in with us for a quick minute yesterday, but there he is right there. There he is right there. But we're looking to get a full segment out of him to talk about the segment, the summit, what the big announcement was yesterday, and where we're headed in the nuclear field and why. I've found everything about yesterday fascinating, and I wanted a full-on recap and look ahead as well. Governor Jeff Landry is on with us right now. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Brian.
Glad to have you on. Want to get the full recap. When Chairman Nee was on yesterday, I got to give you the backstory before you popped in the room. He was so worried about being late to get upstairs. So the relief in his face when you walked in, because you can't be late when you're with the governor, right? I mean, it's wherever you are, you're on time. So he settled in real good as soon as you walked in yesterday. That was fun.
Well, I'm glad I did. I didn't realize that you were broadcasting live from New Orleans. And when they told me y'all in there together, I said, well, I'm going to just go in there. And they're like, well, it's on the radio. I said, but Brian, I understand. You appreciate that. I thought it was great. I think it's a real big deal. I mean, what happened yesterday is really huge. It really is.
Yes. So let's walk through. First of all, recap the big announcement for those that have missed it. I mean, it's been headlined everywhere. Every news outlet in the state's been reporting it, but just give us the nuts and bolts of the big announcement.
Well, Turner Industry is building the next generation of nuclear manufacturing facilities in Louisiana, which is going to create thousands of high-paying jobs, positions us here in Louisiana as a national energy manufacturing hub for nuclear. So in other words, Turner Industries has had a nuclear footprint for quite some time. They don't generate electricity. That's Entergy or Demco's job, or one of our other utility providers. But they make the components that allow them to generate the electricity. In nuclear, that's exactly what they do. And so, and Stevie Toops explained that to me yesterday, and when we did a great interview on a national publication yesterday. And by producing those components for next generation nuclear reactors, that allows Louisiana to be a leader. So whether we're building SMRs here in Louisiana to generate electricity, or whether other states are embracing small modular nuclear reactors, that's what SMRs are, for electrical production, they will be getting their component parts from Louisiana. I mean, look, in my opinion, this is equivalent to having a automobile manufacturing facility in Louisiana, but it's on the nuclear side. And I mean, we're going to be doing what no one else in the country is doing. I think it's huge. I think it fits very, very like hand in glove,
right,
on the economic progress that we've been making across the state.
Well, I mean, not just, here in Louisiana, when you see data centers coming to town, it's right to assume that when you have a data center come to town, you're going to need more energy. And that's not just for Louisiana, that's nationwide. When a new data center comes anywhere, it would be great for us to be out in front on the product end to be able to say, here's how you build out to get the energy you're going to need for the data center. Louisiana is going to be your one-stop shop.
Well, exactly. No, you're 100% right. And the thing that I am the most concerned about, and people should be as well, but we have done a great job of balancing that act, is making sure that electricity is affordable, that there's affordability to the consumer. That's why the deal we did with Meta is such an outstanding deal and serves as a template for the way that it should be done. What we want to make sure we do is build out electrical generation capacity that has the ability to attract the industries that are being onshored into America today because of the great work that the Trump administration has done by creating all these jobs. What we don't want to do is have this build out and then create unaffordable electrical prices for you at home. Nuclear has the ability to basically flatten that particular cost curve. So instead of laying all of our generation on natural gas, which has the ability to spike, we know that prices of oil and gas go up and down. And when they're high, they're going to be laid on the backs of the consumer because that's a fuel added cost. Nuclear doesn't do that. Nuclear is a constant cost. And so that's why it's so important to put it into the portfolio.
Governor Jeff Landry is on with us, talking about the Nuclear Energy Summit going on in New Orleans. You used the term yesterday, a second nuclear renaissance. Walk the audience through what that means and what that looks like in real life, beyond just the announcement.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. America embraced nuclear energy at the very, in the 1960s, I guess you would say. You remember, and then during the big Green Revolution, there was a movement that basically nuclear was bad. It was going to harm people. After the 3 Mile Island accident, that basically, everyone said, oh, nuclear is bad, and it just shut down the build out of nuclear reactors. Now, Louisiana has safely operated 2 nuclear reactors here in Louisiana, one up the river from Baton Rouge and one below the river from Baton Rouge. So we know, we're comfortable with it. And that was kind of the first nuclear renaissance that we basically screwed up. We should have never stopped building them. This is an opportunity where people have become real comfortable with nuclear energy at a time when we need electrical generation more than ever. I mean, the expansion of electrical power that is needed, we need to double the amount that we generate today in the United States. And again, like I said, it's about affordability to the consumer. And so that's why I say we're experiencing the second nuclear renaissance in the country. And what we don't want to do is screw it up this time.
Governor Jeff Landry in with us. Okay, so let's talk about, we covered the manufacturing end with the announcement from Turner Industries. Let's talk about the generation end. Where are we going to be in the nuclear space on that front? What do we have room for in Louisiana to create?
Well, the good thing is that unlike in the first nuclear renaissance, everything was big, large modular nuclear reactors. Today, we've recognized, especially after it's been proven in the U.S. Navy, because look, the U.S. Navy operates nuclear reactors on subs and aircraft carriers. Those nuclear reactors are what you call SMR, small modular reactors. We've recognized that, hey, technology today allows us to build those reactors at a much smaller scale to deliver sustainable electrical generation with a smaller footprint. So that means we could put those up across the landscape here in Louisiana and operate them efficiently. Does that make sense?
Yes. No, it absolutely does. Because you're not, if you're thinking of the bigger footprint, if you're thinking of where Homer Simpson works, that's not exactly what we're looking at here. It's a completely different world.
We think of the nuclear reactor and the footprint down in St. Charles, right? Or the one upriver. Those are big, very large facilities. The SMRs are much smaller. The footprint is much smaller, and that doesn't produce the level of electrical output as those big ones. But again, because you can compact them, you can bring the amount of generation needed to a particular area right away.
Which means you could scale it anywhere in between too. You could be as small as running a sub or as big as River Bend, and then all points down the middle. So what's needed on the workforce and education front now?
Well, again, I think that the good news is that, again, because of Turner Industries' nuclear footprint that they've had for such a long time, and because of the nuclear reactors that we've operated here in Louisiana, we're not starting from scratch from our workforce. We've got a workforce from which to build upon. We've got folks that have worked at those reactors before. Turner has worked inside of the workforce, and now you said the magic word. Now we just have to scale it. So again, Brian, it's like Louisiana has been like a garage, okay, that has had all these tools in it and a car in it that's been broken. And we've brought mechanics in, and they've been trying to fix the car with everything except for what's in the garage. Okay? They've got we can fix this with this. We need to go to the store and get this. But what we need to build Louisiana's economy is already in the garage. We've got the pipeline system, we've got the rail system, we've got the waterway system, and more importantly, we've got the greatest natural resource, which are people, which have been skilled and honed and got a great work ethic. And so when we tap into that, our best days, I'm telling you, like the next 10 years are going to be unbelievable in Louisiana. We've got over $100 billion in investment, and it's counting, and it's starting. And I think people are starting to recognize it. 124,000 job opportunities. That means we keep people in our state rather than send them elsewhere to seek job opportunities.
And you know that's my wheelhouse right there. That's what I'm all about. And I brought this up when it was kind of my soapbox. Is I want that 7th congressional district back.
Me too. Listen,
that's
I want 8. I want 9. There was a time when we had 9.
Right?
Do you remember that? Yeah, we had 9.
I'm
and so,
baby steps, Governor. Baby
yeah,
steps.
I know. Well, I mean, look, I'm with you. Look, we'll aim high, and maybe we catch them in the middle. But
Yeah.
I can tell you, as long as we're moving up, we're in the right direction. And I'm going to take a minute just to remind everyone. Look, the voting that's getting ready to happen, both early voting and May 16th, we got constitutional amendments on the ballot. Both 3 and 4 help us. 4 is the business inventory tax. We want to rid ourselves of that tax. That tax increases the cost of merchandise here in Louisiana. We want to eliminate that. I would urge voters to go out there and vote yes. Amendment 3 gives our teachers a permanent pay raise, reduces the retirement debt on teachers, does it in the most good government way we've ever had before. And so doing those types of things, when the government does those types of things, it only encourages the Turners and others of the world to locate here and to create jobs here in Louisiana.
We're already seeing the good faith investments being made, and it's about now the good faith has got to be returned back on our end to keep it up. If we could, I got you for 2 more minutes. Can I ask you about the legislative session? What's kind of been your highlights so far?
Yeah, look, I think the things that we're doing right now is just the blocking and tackling. We've done a lot of the big heavy lifting over the last 2 years. We've been on the show a number of times. There's been a lot of chaos involved in it because when change comes, people get real nervous. Look, right now we're fine tuning things. We're working on really restructuring the court system in Orleans Parish. I'm actually after the tragic shootings of last week, we're working on tweaking our criminal laws and doing some things on the juvenile criminal code to basically start to tighten some of those things up, to hold people accountable when they do like the tragic things that they did. I mean, it just was terrible what we dealt with last week in Louisiana. We're really trying to get a reform of workman's comp done. I think we're close. Again, we're just kind of doing blocking and tackling and making sure that we keep our fiscal affairs in order.
He is Governor Jeff Landry. I appreciate you carving out a couple minutes this morning. Also appreciate the pop in. Yet, wait, I will say this though: you're the governor. Don't just poke your head in the door. You kick the door down, sir. I know we're on the air.
Fun. Every once in a while, I gotta have a little fun, Brian.
Always appreciate the time, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
You too. Absolutely. Coming up on 750 at Talk 107.3 FM. Need to remind you about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website. FlyBTR.com. If you got business in our nation's capital, you can get it done in one day. You can fly out in the morning, fly home in the evening. No problem at all. FlyBTR.com. Don't even have to make a hotel reservation. Sleep in your own bed at night. Now, no one's going to stop you from staying in D.C. It's a wonderful city, right? But if you want to get things taken care of and be back home same day, FlyBTR.com. It goes right into Reagan National, comes back to BTR that night. Also, quick reminder, not too soon to start your football travel plans as well at FlyBTR.com. Here's your money now. Yeah, you are. Eighth. No, we didn't. Let me text again.
Because if not, we can sit that interview in there. And where can I find that Ilhan cut? I see WW11 cut. Where can I find that?
That's what I sent to you. The TikTok that I sent to you.
Yes. Okay.
Oh. I don't know who this is. Do you?
Yeah, try it free. You said you thought it was try it, please.
Yeah. I screwed that one up.
Try it free.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center.
Delicious.
This report comes to you from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center.
Oh, the misinformation continues. Just looking at some of the comments over there on the Facebook live feed. Oh, always a good time. We're live on Facebook every single day, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. Thanks again to Governor Jeff Landry for hopping on board, talking a little bit about where we're at and where we can be in the nuclear space, nuclear energy space. Getting you to this day in history in just a quick second, but I do need to remind you all day long. Give big and help grant dreams for Louisiana kids fighting life-threatening illnesses with our Dreams Come True Radiothon powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Donate now at talk1073.com or guaranteemedia.com. Any donation made today will be eligible for a special offer from Talk 1073. A night out complete with a room at the Renaissance, dinner at Tallulah, and tickets to see Weird Al Yankovic. Help us make dreams come true. Donate today at talk1073.com or guaranteemedia.com. Right now, this day in history. Pew, pew, pew. Twas a good one.
So
What you got?
once again, the world only starts beginning in the 1900s.
I guess so.
I don't have anything notable from the 1800s or AC, BC.
No, neither did I today.
Okay.
1945 was my first installment.
You go ahead. 1945 is what?
American troops liberated tens of thousands of inmates at Nazi Germany's Dachau concentration camp.
Okay. That was right in the middle of World War II, like smack dab in the peak of it, wasn't it? No?
It's towards the end.
Toward the end. Okay. All right. 1975, the fall of Saigon. So basically what this was U.S. begins to evacuate its citizens, but it brings to an end the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War.
Yep.
So that was pivotal. All right. In 1992, once again, we're on the Rodney King verdict. A jury acquits 4 LAPD officers. Protests escalate within hours on this day in history in LA.
Mm-hmm.
In 2011, the wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton. It was one of the most watched live events in TV history. I want to say even the schools were airing that, which I don't see why you would, but
What?
the wedding.
Oh,
yeah.
the wedding? Yeah, I don't know. I
remember it just being huge and everybody
I don't
was
have the
talking about
compulsion
it.
with the Royals. Yeah.
Not for me. In 2004, Dick Cheney and George W. Bush testified before the 9/11 Commission in a closed, unrecorded hearing in the Oval Office.
Awesome.
The Simpsons make TV history in 2018. This series surpasses its 635 episode count of Gunsmoke, the highest number of episodes in any series on TV.
So it goes Simpsons and then Gunsmoke?
Yep. Episode count of Gunsmoke.
Golly, people were starved for entertainment.
I know, right? In 2018, I'm sure we were. I have to throw this one in there because I cannot believe this man is still touring. Willie Nelson's 90th birthday concert back in the year 2023.
Yeah.
He hosts his first of 2-night 90th birthday concert at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. He moves around on stage like he's 21 years old.
Really?
It blows my mind. Yes.
Apparently the weed is good for the joints.
Yeah, right? What else you got, Brian?
As far as this day, nothing. Everything I got is birthdays.
All right, let's pivot over. Happy birthday. Let's keep it on Willie. Born in 1933 on this day.
Yep.
Jerry Seinfeld. Michelle Pfeiffer. Master P.
Yep.
Dale Earnhardt. That's all I got. Who you got?
I also have Daniel Day-Lewis, Bernie Madoff, and Emperor Hirohito.
Oh, Uma Thurman.
What?
Uma Thurman from
Okay.
Kill Bill and Pulp Fiction. She has a birthday today.
Okay.
Notable deaths, Brian. I don't really have anything. Do you have? I mean, no, I'm
Not
not
really.
even going to go with that.
Nope.
All right, let's see. National Day today. Did you have anything chosen? Let me see if I can pull up something. International Dance Day. I don't know if I like that. Day of Trees is today.
Look, I've got viral video day written down.
Hey, let's go with that.
Whatever. All right. That is this day in history. We are due up for the top of the hour. Don't forget, Dreams Come True Radiothon, Power Day all day long. Make your donations now at talk1073.com. These grants dreams for Louisiana children battling life-threatening illnesses. Hour 3 is coming up next. What you say, sir? Fantastic. You got a suit for it. Do what? You got a suit for it. I'll be over at the Capitol later today, just making the rounds. We're trying to introduce more and more of our sales folks to when they have all the tables in the rotunda. It's a great way to make contacts. Yeah. And the hospital associations will be out there today. And then right. We have Guarantee Health now. Okay. So, in fact, I've been through my library for them right before I bring you on. So you'll learn all about them in just a second. Good. Expert witnesses we're talking about? That's what I was told. Okay. Was that up the other day?
It was, and we got out of committee. There's some concerns about unintended consequence, so we're going to tweak it a little bit to make sure. So,
all right.
I'll just say, part of the process.
Yeah.
Making sure we don't have.
Of course.
It's good.
Oh. So I was over at the Capitol yesterday as well. So I went to the nuclear summit down in New Orleans to do my show.
Yeah.
And then I hauled ass to get back to the Capitol because were you in the house when y'all first convened? Were you in the room? During the personal privilege time at the beginning, like right at 1. Anyway, Gabe Ferment did the resolution for guarantee media.
Yes. I'm trying to think. I didn't think it was just. I was there.
I'm sure it's a blur by now, but Yeah, it was Gabe Furman did a
Yeah.
because he's from Pollock and the Fosters are originally from Pollock. So our company's 100. I mean, we haven't done media for 100 years.
Yeah.
It started as a life insurance company.
But yeah, for 100 years. Yeah, I remember him saying that. You're right. It was a blur. I forgot it was yesterday.
I can imagine by this point in the session, there's a lot of that.
It is. I have conversations. I'm like, was that yesterday? Was that last week? So it's, but we're, a month out now, 2 months in almost. 6.
I mean, yeah, as of
it ends
June 1, right?
It ends June 1. So we're almost.
So Friday would make 1 month out.
Yeah.
Which are y'all staying the whole time? Has there been any talk of an early Sine Die?
I haven't heard anything. Yeah, we're still getting house bills out of the house.
Hey, we're not gonna be able to do Juju. We've got the guest.
How was the summit yesterday?
So I didn't stay for a whole lot of the summit. I stuck around I did my show and then I watched the announcement with Stevie Toops and then listened to Ho Ni, the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission chairman. Okay. And then I had to bounce so I can get back in time. But it was full. The 200 people in a room.
Yeah.
So you're talking from like government, business, and other. So it was impressive to say the least. I want to talk with Anna Johnson.
Yeah,
was the one that brought me up there down there to do my show. I'm curious to see what she has to say about the postmortem on it once it's done because it looked like it was obviously a full room, obviously a lot of energy, obviously a lot of people want to start getting back on this nuclear path.
Yeah, conversations, talking to people, everybody. If we're going to do data centers, you're going to need nuclear.
Correct. And this small modular reactor thing is number one, you're eliminating the Fukushima possibility.
Yeah.
And number two, it's scalable and portable.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, they're not all going to be here.
No.
The Turner announcement is about making nuclear an export for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have the build them kit for you.
And up by us on the Barksdale military bases.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's whenever they open up that new entrance and they finish that stuff by us, that's where they're going to assemble all the nuclear bombs. They're going to start they're putting it up there by us.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. One of my buddies said something about World Cup and
806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got a busy third hour for you, y'all. Staying up in the legislative session, to be sure. State Representative Mike Melerine is going to join us in just a minute. We're going to talk with Ray Gregson from the River Parishes Chamber, and then we're going to talk Charlie's Law before it's all said and done. But before we get too far down the line here, got to remind you about the folks at Matherns. They're downtown on 3rd Street, 3rd and Main. Well, back side of the store is 4th and Main, where you find the actual parking lot there, but they have entrances on both sides. Downtown on 3rd Street, Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center directly across the street from Tiger Stadium, or the OG location, they're back at Kenilworth, Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth. Matherns has got you covered, y'all. And I want to tell you about the Nicholson Drive location right now, simply because LSU baseball and softball are at home this weekend. Now, if you want to go out there, do a little tailgating, but didn't want to put in the man hours to do all the cooking for the tailgating, Matherns has got you covered. Download the Matherns Rewards app and get access to every catering tray, a catering menu that they have. If you don't find what you're looking for, ask them. Unbelievably built to fit whatever it is you're looking for. So download the Matherns Rewards app today. Earn cash towards more groceries every time you shop, and be ready when the Tigers are playing this weekend to hit up Matherns right there on campus. All right. We have been checking in on the legislative session from a number of different fronts. We like to look at some legal bills every once in a while, courtesy of the Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch. LLAW.org is the website if you want to check them out. We are joined in studio right now by State Representative Mike Melerine. How are you, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on. Let's talk expert witnesses. Yeah. I had this. I'm trying to remember who was on with this conversation. Was it on a Monday it went through committee?
Monday it went through committee.
Yeah. So I had somebody on that morning. We were talking about it. Tell me what the bill does.
Yeah. So the bill simply says, if you're going to be offered as an expert, so, you have a trial, you're going through your case. Sometimes in order to prove certain things, you need to have somebody that's an expert in certain fields. It just says, if you're going to be offered as an expert and presented as an expert, you cannot have a pecuniary interest in the case. Simply meaning you can't have an interest money interest in it.
Right.
It applies to both sides. Look, as I said in committee, I don't want a person to be offered as an expert by a defense and them say, look, I'll give you $5,000, but if you get me a really good verdict and we zero the plaintiff, so the plaintiff recovers nothing, I'll give you $10,000. Like, they shouldn't be having that incentive to call into question, are you giving truthful and accurate opinions, expertise, or are you doing it because you have a money interest in it? And it applies to both sides.
Well, so walk me through an example of where this would apply. What type of cases would we be looking at here?
It could apply to anything. So just a simple example, just say, look, you have a property dispute and somebody sues you over something, and you go and hire an expert to testify on XYZ topic. And say it's a boundary dispute or something like that. And you get a surveyor in there or something, and they just say, I think this is it. But if we win, I'll give you $10,000. But if we lose, I'll give you $5,000. Simple example. It could come up in a number of cases. Pretty much any lawsuit that needs an expert, this could come into play. It could come into play in a family case. You have a psychologist or psychiatrist that does an examination on somebody and says, hey, look, if we win and I get whatever relief I'm seeking, I'll pay you a little bit extra. We don't want to have that incentive built into our system.
I'm always curious about motivations on bills like this.
Yeah.
Like, what got this ball rolling?
And just talking to some people around the state have said they've come across it. And look, right now, what you can do, if you go to trial, you can ask the expert, are you being compensated? How are you being compensated? Do you favor the defense? Do you favor the plaintiff side when you're testifying?
Right.
Things like that. So right now it can be there, but this just makes it very clear you can't do this.
Okay. There's no less than blunt way to ask this question. What difference does it make? Does it change testimony if you have an incentive to win?
Yeah, I mean, it can. Look, we're all human, whether it's subconscious or conscious. If somebody puts out there and says, I will pay you a percentage of what we collect, an extra fee if we win, something like that, just that little bit extra incentive necessarily is what we're trying to make sure doesn't happen. And it's a legal system. You're supposed to get the truth, and especially an expert, because you have to be qualified. You have to say, I've practiced in this field, this area for so many years. I have this degree. I have all these things. So when you tell somebody, a jury, I'm an expert in this field,
right,
they get a little bit extra weight. Not a little bit. They get a lot of extra weight, and their testimony carries a lot more impact and sway. And we want to remove and make sure that it's not happening at all, where they have any incentive except to give you an honest and frank opinion about what their expertise is.
Would this change the front end fees as well, though? I mean, because if I'm the expert witness and I'm used to pulling $10K for getting a win, would this change the front end fees to where that $5,000 you offered probably should go up to kind of meet the medium?
No, and it specifically says you can still pay somebody for their time.
Right.
And I mean, look, you're relying on somebody's expertise, and just like anything, they should be qualified, and I mean, they should be compensated for it. It's just that extra, hey, I'm going to charge you a different price if we win or lose, because that's where you get into the concerns about maybe giving a little bit extra testimony, maybe not quite the same if you win or lose. If you know you have your outcomes, your pay is based on the outcome.
Right. And State Representative Mike Melerine is our guest. We're talking about the pay scale or the payments for expert witnesses in lawsuits. Now, when we look around to, it's inevitable. We are a judicial hellhole, I believe, number 4 in the country overall. Lawsuit abuse is around left and right. How does this factor into that? I mean, is that considered lawsuit abuse when you can tip the scales by having that kind of carrot on a stick?
I mean, for me, I think it would apply to both sides. There's a danger with both sides. So yes, it can obviously do this. But for me, this is not a plaintiff or defense bill. This is both. This applies to both sides. We're making sure, again, that it's fair. Like if somebody's going to claim I'm an expert engineer, I can tell you this building wasn't built to code X, Y, and Z, and this is why. I don't want them to have any, even if it's the perception of I'm going to favor this side just simply because I've got an extra outcome.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. And the effects that it would have, I would assume we're looking at the added effects on a jury, because the more money's involved, the more theatrical things can get. I mean, is that the long and the short of it?
Yeah. And so look, it's to circle back to what you said. If we make the process as equal and fair for everybody as you can, then you start to address what you said, like the judicial hellhole.
Right.
You're making sure that it's an even playing field. And that's all. Look, I practice law. Most of the time I'm on the defense side. That's all I want is a fair, the law applied equally to both sides, and making sure that everybody, when they say something, it's honest, it's true, and there are no games being played, things like that.
Well, I bring up the judicial hellhole part as part of a greater conversation, and that is I'm getting the feeling that every session you're taking some kind of, I don't want to call it surgical, but a very precise angle at chipping away at the judicial hellhole. I mean, we did Housley presumption last time around, and now this one feels like, I don't know if we're going to see a 1-to-1 ratio on chipping away at it, but this is one that chips away at the wrong motives and the wrong incentives.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I know I keep stressing this because it's true to me. Like, this is about both sides.
Right.
This isn't about one side. But when you fix our broken legal system, and this is very simple, it has to be equally applied.
Sure.
And you're right. You can't just take a complete sledgehammer necessarily. It's the smaller things, the nuanced things that oftentimes have the most impact. You go and you cut out the tumor surgically, like you said,
right,
and you start to do that, and you may have to do 5, 6, 7 things, but if you can chip away at what's unfair and how it's being applied or ruled inequitably or unevenly,
right,
you can fix it.
I got just a couple more for you, and I appreciate your time this morning. In the bill, if I'm not mistaken, isn't just about the current case, though, right? Does it have to be disclosed that there were previous cases as well?
So
there was what's the word?
Yeah. So right now,
yeah.
the laws, as I said, you can go through and when you're questioning an expert in front of the jury, you can ask them, how are you paid in the past? How you've been paid? Things like that.
Okay. Now so if you've been paid in the past, does that exclude you from the current one, or does it just have to be disclosed?
It just has to be disclosed. Yeah.
Okay. But
it's just for this case, you cannot be offered as an expert and have a pecuniary
No,
interest.
but the reason I bring that up is because you're eliminating the hired gun.
Exactly.
If you're an expert, you're an expert.
Yeah.
If you're a hired gun, then you're brought in with a specific end result in mind, not just the truth, not just justice.
And that's what we're trying to avoid.
Absolutely. State Representative Mike Melarine's in with us. Support. How's this bad boy looking?
It got out of committee very well. Look, it's a process. You know, I was talking about this before we went on there. There's some concerns that were raised in committee. I'm going to look at them and see. Yeah. Look, are they?
Could have been too many. It was 6-1-1.
It was. So it wasn't too many. But look, it's this is a process. We need to make sure that there aren't unintended consequences of anything we do. We try to eliminate as many of those as you can. That way, you don't have to come back. You mentioned Charlie's Law. Come back and look at that, something like that later on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know it's impossible to predict unintended consequences, but were examples given in committee?
There were one or two examples given about potential unintended consequences, and that's why I said we're going to go back and make sure they're addressed if they're there, and we don't have those.
Always looking forward to conversations that can affect the future of where we're at in the law, the judicial hellhole world, as it were. That's why Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch hops on board for this segment. Mike, before I let you go, what else you working on, man?
So we talked about last time I was here. I've got my non-compete bill up today in Senate committee. Just basically says if you're an intern or an extern, you can't be forced to sign a non-compete.
Yeah.
And we talked
I
about
still
that
haven't figured that one out yet, man. I guess I hear you, because in general, I hate non-competes.
Yeah.
I mean, every employee probably should hate a non-compete. What we talked about last time with that was, like, if you're going to intern, you need to intern. You're not just fetching coffee.
Yeah.
So that's one that I love it, though, because it puts somebody in the workforce quicker.
It does.
It opens them up in the work. I mean, we're talking constantly about, the work Susan Bourgeois is doing in LED, bringing jobs to town, making sure we have the employees for those jobs. Well, if you got somebody hung up on the shelf for an internship,
yeah, that's
a hindrance to do business.
Exactly. We don't want them moving out of state because they had to sign a non-compete or something like that.
Right. He's State Representative Mike Melerine. Greatly appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We are at 8:18 at Talk 107.3 FM. Ran a little bit long right there. Don't forget Power Hour going on as part of Power Day here for the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Donate now at talk1073.com.
Thank you, sir.
No, my pleasure. Thank you. Major Roger Williams. Atlanta. Running a little bit long, not to worry. We're diving right back in. Mornings with Brian Haldane continuing right now. Let's pivot the conversation over a little bit and talk about the carbon sequestration topic from a bit of a different perspective here. I want to welcome to the show Ray Gregson. He heads up the River Region Chamber. I said River Parishes Chamber. River Region Chamber. He's on with us right now. Ray, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to be with you this morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. Who's in the River Region?
So we represent and support and voice for business for St. Charles Parish, St. John the Baptist, and St. James parishes.
And that would be right along the river, to be sure. Your role there as the head of the chamber, I mean, some chambers take on, let's take care of the business that are here. Some chambers take on the let's invite more business in. You're in a sweet spot right there where you got a lot you got a lot of moving pieces going on right now on both fronts.
We do. I came in, hired on November of 2024, and what we have a lot of, obviously along the river, the infrastructure that we have and the framework we have here is just, there's a lot of opportunity. We do work with other chambers and economic development, trade associations such as LCA, Lamoga, et cetera. The opportunity here is it's plentiful. And, carbon capture is just a small piece. It's a piece to the bigger puzzle, if you will, big picture.
Talk to me a little bit about what you're hearing on the carbon capture front on both sides, because I feel like you'd be a good cross-section of, hearing back from individuals in the community, hearing from businesses, hearing what the wants are, and also what the, what the concerns are.
So our first priority, is local, right? So in our three parishes, initially it was, what is it? There's obviously a lot of narratives. So being educated on the benefits of that and how it impacts, and just to give you two bigger fronts that we spoke about at committee and in this at the Capitol last year and this year is, yes, we talked about initially. I think it was more discussed along the lines of some of the newer projects coming, right? And after multiple discussions with our partners along the river, our existing facility is needed, right? So that they can continue to survive. And if you look, and one of the examples I give is when you look at the state's GDP, what percentage is exports? It's north of 40%. Well, if that's the case, right, and if we don't get carbon capture, some of these exports, because of laws, as you mentioned on your radio show and had guests mention this, overseas, if we lose those exports, how much does it impact the statewide GDP? It's substantial. First thing I want to talk about is, mention is our current facilities, which, by the way, look at the jobs and the average salaries. Look, they're averaging north of $90,000. And I'll tie it, if you remember the high impact wage bill last year, when you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics data that was tied to that bill, that's the companies within the parishes and their average pay. St. Charles Parish is number 1 on that list. St. John was 5 and St. James was 6. So I got 3 of the top 6. Ironically, the top 11 are either in the Bayou region on the river, with the exception of Cameron Parish, which was number 2, i.e. all the energy industry.
Yeah,
right?
Woodside will have something to say about that. Yeah.
100%. So yes, it's 100%. This is what we do, and it supports families. Look, personal level, I have, when people start attacking these current facilities that great people in our community work for, who have great salaries and don't even need a 4-year college degree to do so, right, but know this stuff inside and out with it's a talented workforce. Look, how do you not stand up for families? I don't know. So that just on a personal level, we've got to be able to do that, right? That's our people. And then, obviously, look, if you look at our workforce stuff, in our 3 school districts here, and you look at RPCC and even other 2-year colleges, even our 4-year universities. We're training the future, right? But we need to bring these things here to keep them here.
Right. Well, and that's a big part of it, is because we have all the resources right here as well. I mean, when you've got the river, when you've got the geological makeup, and then you add to that, we talk about the River Parishes Community College, when you have the workforce as a resource as well, it's important to keep everything here. So talk to me a little bit about, and Ray Gregson from the River Region Chamber is our guest. Talk to me a little bit about the relationship with the existing businesses and what they're telling you on the carbon sequestration front.
So, a lot of them are waiting to see what happens with this session. And, you've heard it. People have said it. If it falls apart in this session, as a state, we would lose north of $50-60 billion in projects. Right. I will tell you that some of those newer projects are in our region. That number that we mentioned is potential expansions or efficiencies built into these current facilities. Mm-hmm. That's not even, those numbers are not even in that 60 billion that you've heard LED and the governor mention. So there's the potential for that growth, but more importantly, while we're looking at the current facilities, I'm looking at retention more than growth, right? Because they've got to be able to continue to export, continue to increase the value of their product, so that they can not just export, but if you look at Meta, they have internal policy that says that they've got to be low carbon. So that's not even an overseas thing. That's right here in the U.S. So it's also trickled down to that as well. So, and look, here's the other thing: technology is moving at the speed of light. As you know, we're going to have companies, products. We went and toured a facility in Texas. They have a dry ice facility next door.
Really?
So not all the carbon is actually going to the ground. Guess what? Being used there, and we all looked at each other and said, what a bright idea. So there are technologies coming that we potentially have something coming in our region that will use carbon in the process. So look, as somebody stated a few months ago that I was there, if you take 1 million tons of CO2 out of the air, whether you agree with the carbon capture or not, if you take 1 million tons of anything out of the air, can we agree it's a good thing?
To take 1 million tons of anything out of the air?
Yeah, but such as CO2.
Right.
And bury it. It's going back where it came from.
Isn't that part of the process that I think gets overlooked in all this? How much of the political back and forth has been a hindrance to this?
It's definitely been. I think what's helped a lot, honestly, what is the education. And look, for me, as an advocate for our people, I need to see it, right? And it helped for me to go see it. And I went and visited there in October in Texas. I eat barbecue next to it. I mean, I had to ask them, "Is this on?" And they lifted the cover and the dial, and you can see the dial. I had my ear to the pipe. My house is louder at 3 a.m. My refrigerator, I think, is louder. It really is. Blown away at it, honestly. And that's the well that we're talking about, right?
Right.
But you also have the pipeline infrastructure. Look, pipeline's the safest way to get anything there. And if you, based on the education I've been provided on this, the pipe that the CO2 goes in is the wall thickness and the way that it's done is incredible. So we got to, I don't know since when look, I'm not a scientist, but I've sat in the room with the experts who understand this. Some of your professors at our universities, some of our, the scientists, they explained it, right? And people ask questions and okay, thank you. When did we stop trusting them?
And also a good question. What's your role in navigating these relationships, being between, the local business and the legislature, between being between the local business and the big business. What's your role there? Is it, I mean, is it as a educator, liaison, all of the above?
So our first role when it comes to advocacy. So as CEO of the chamber, it's one of my job duties is advocacy, and that is first and foremost is local, right? It's educating, whether it's our local officials, whether it's local businesses, but more importantly, one of the things that helps when you talk about big business or small business that is huge is when our larger businesses use local small businesses for their services, whether it's ordering food out, no matter what it is, when they're using local, man, I can't tell you how much that helps. I mean, and go along the river, every one of them really do a good job, and some are doing even better job at it. And we can, as I tell our larger businesses, look, if you need contacts at where to get this or that, call us. We'll help you. We'll get you the contact for it. And I think that's the connection, that we build and really show that support. But, look at the tax dollars that they bring in, right? So that's based on law, what they're putting in tax dollars. But then you look at what they're donating, and you see numerous cases of this from industry up and down the river. That's not a requirement. That's not part of the legal framework. Community engagement is, but not necessarily donating. I say out of the kindness of their heart, but truly it's part of their model, but it's internal model. It supports so much. It's unbelievable. And while I say that, one other piece here is, there's not an industry in this state that I've seen, and especially in my region, that has pulled more people out of poverty. And who wants to pull more people out of poverty, right?
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Why
the stories are endless.
Yeah, and this is why we love partnering up with the folks over at Industry Makes. For one particular example, is getting the straight truth out there from the people who are living it right now. And before I get you out of here, and look, I'm not going to ask you about the science on it because, like you said, you're not a scientist. But from someone who is within the business community, what does the future look like without CCS up and down the river region?
Brian, I don't even want to think about it. That's scary. Population's a concern. Like I said, again, if CCS doesn't happen, there's some new projects that won't happen. So you could take potential future out, I think. But the bigger problem is when you say no to business, right? And I'm not saying we say yes to everything, right? There's
of course,
legal and regulatory frameworks, right?
And educational frameworks as well, though, is building your knowledge base before you make a decision.
100%, and that's where we come in on the community engagement side, right? But it's our existing facilities and those average salaries. It's the tax dollars that go towards education. Look, when I look at, a lot of people don't realize this, right? You look at St. Charles Parish.
Yeah.
The tax roll from 2019 to 2024 grew from over $1.5 million per mill, the taxing bodies that we're getting, to $2.5 million per mill because of ITEPs that actually came onto the rolls. And the taxing bodies were able to lower millages from 118.5 mills to 100, just about 102 right now. While you look at across the state and you hear about the struggles some parishes are having, you lowered the millage. And what's that impact? We put in that process of lower millages, put $15 million in the career and technical ed on top of what we already had. There. St. John has one of the best welding programs at East St. John High School. Go look at St. James Parish.
Yes.
Per capita has the most internships for high schools in business community.
Absolutely love it.
It's unbelievable.
I completely let time slip away. And my goodness gracious, I'm just getting a little at the clock. So engulfed in the conversation with Ray Gregson from River Region Chamber. I'm poorly mismanaged clock. Ray, we got to get you back on soon to pick this conversation back up again because it's fascinating stuff. And in the meanwhile, we got to get. Thank you so much for hopping on board.
Appreciate you, brother.
No, always. We'll talk soon. We ran super duper long there. Local news, traffic, weather. Coming back, talking Charlie's Law next. I had no idea what time it was. I didn't even.
And when you asked him that last question,
Yeah.
you got in the meeting, I'm like, I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, no. Once I had 3 other windows open, going down different things within his parishes. So I wasn't on my clock page. That's a 1 minute. Yeah, that's all I really need because I can. It'll put me back on track to go back to my. Oh. Hi. Alondra. Carrie says my friend Alden, who's in my chapter, talked to us about it. So she already knew what's up. It's moved down though. SB 441. Oh shit. What? I know. It's supposed to be 2 minutes plus news. 2 minutes for news, 2 minutes for traffic. 2 minutes for news, 1 minute for traffic, 2 minutes of spots, 45 seconds of weather. It just feels long because we're running long, and I feel bad because, yeah. It's 8:42 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. My apologies, y'all. We ran super duper long. Diving back into the legislature right now, we have Major Roger Williams on with us. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well, Brian. Thank you for having me on this morning.
No, I appreciate your patience waiting right there because we got some important stuff to talk about. Charlie's Law is what we're talking about today. You are Charlie's dad. Give us the lowdown. Tell us a little bit about your daughter's story and what we're looking at here with the law.
So how we ended up here a couple years ago, I went and picked my daughter up from school. I brought her to gymnastics, and I found something no father should ever have to find. I found blood in her underwear, and she told me that another child in her class touched her. So we called the police, and due to the children's age, they were below the age of culpability. The sheriff's department, they were hesitant to get involved. DCFS, we called them. They wouldn't get involved because the incident didn't happen in the home, and it didn't happen by somebody defined as a caretaker. And one of the alarming things that we found out, we called the Department of Education, and we found out that the Department of Education couldn't do anything because in Louisiana, they didn't require non-public school 3- and 4-year-old pre-K programs to be licensed. Their 2s and unders were licensed, but there was a loophole for the 3- and 4-year-olds. So my wife and I, everybody pointed the finger, and nobody was here to help. So we went to the legislator and we told our story, and that was the inception of Act 409. In basically, Act 409 is universal statewide child safety standards for pre-K 3- and 4-year-old programs. It sets 15 universal basic safety standards. It required the 254 programs operating in Louisiana without a license to become licensed. It includes things like mandatory ratios that were already on the books. We just moved them into law. It's supervision, bathroom policies, bathroom supervision, an education piece for parents to know that if their school isn't following these 15 basic safety standards, who to call, what to do, mandatory reporting training. So it basically allowed the Department of Education to have oversight in an area that was basically unregulated, and there was no oversight to protect these kids when things went wrong.
All right, I need you to bear with me for just a second because we got to walk down a particular path here. Whether or not the Department of Education has oversight, the crime was still committed. Were you able to find justice because of that? I know they're below the age of culpability, but that something very, very, very wrong happened here that should be able to be dealt with on a legal level, correct?
Not necessarily.
Really?
There is, and that was part of our problem. At no time did we want to have a child arrested, right? We wanted to make sure that child was safe too, but we wanted to hold the adults accountable that allowed this to happen. There was some supervision concerns, and when we started finding out more, and we started digging, we found out that this was a problem across Louisiana. At the time, DCFS estimated that 15% of the total call volume to them was for child on child. This year, because of Charlie's Law, DCFS has to track child on child sexual assaults that are reported in a school. And so far there's been 223, and 75 of those cases, or 76 of those cases, are children between 3 to 5 years old, the same gap that Charlie's Law, was made to fill.
All right, so Charlie's Law gets passed. Now we have our eyes on a bill for this particular session. Tell me about it and what where your level of interest is and why.
So it's kind of scary. You have two bills right now, Senate Bill 441 and House Bill 1112, and essentially they want to roll back some of those protections in the pre-K 3 and 4 year old program, reopen that gap that Charlie's Law filled, and it's kind of scary. It's the same system. They want to go back to the same system that was in place that we believe allowed our child to fall through the cracks. It takes out. They're almost similar bills. They're a little bit different, but it essentially rolls back some of the child safety standards that were implemented by Charlie's Law.
How do they do that?
So they're going to remove the ratios out of law. It's going to be back up to the Department of Education to determine the ratios. They'll use Bessie accreditation, and my daughter's school was a Bessie accredited school.
Mm-hmm.
There won't be any inspections in these schools by the Department of Education. It's essentially like an honor system again. And then if a school isn't doing the right thing, there's no enforcement mechanism. They're taking away the enforcement mechanism from the Department of Education on these non-public, schools, private schools.
We're talking with Major Roger Williams about Charlie's Law and about two of the bills that are in this particular legislative session. Have you talked with the authors of these bills to hopefully work with them? Because so while we recognize Charlie's Law being needed, while we recognize the demand for that, and we recognize the situation that arose, we also recognize that there's definitely a shortage of childcare in the state, and it's a hindrance to a lot of people being a part of the workforce. So, have you talked with either of the authors of these bills to try and find how to make them right?
I've tried to. I've tried to reach out. Obviously, my wife and I have been very involved, this legislative session. And I haven't had really any conversations with the authors of the bills. There's a parents' choice, or parental choice argument. There's some religious freedom arguments, some governmental overreach. And I just want to be very clear, nothing in the law dictates, doctrine, curriculum, anything about religion. It's purely about child safety. And I believe that all children that go to school deserve to have basic safety standards. And I think a lot of parents, especially us, I didn't know that 3 and 4 year old programs weren't licensed in the state of Louisiana, and the 2s and under aren't. So I think you can have, in order to have parental choice and to have that trust, I think you need to have those universal basic safety standards. If not, when something goes wrong, like what happened in our situation, and to the other kids that it was happening to, there's nowhere really to turn. There's no one to hold accountable.
Are you, as you follow and I've been following SB 441 as it's made its way through, and it's just one step away. As I believe it's going to be heard in front of the full House. I don't have the date on that yet, but it made its way over to the full House yesterday, so probably another week or so. But as you've been following these along, what's been your interaction with different legislators, if not the authors of the bill? Are you able to, lobby some of those who are in the Capitol to let them know?
I think a lot of them understand, but
what's their feedback been?
That again, look, I don't operate a school. I'm not an administrator. So to say that Charlie's Law was perfect. It most certainly wasn't. There's definitely some unintended consequences that I think we could have addressed. But instead of watering it down, I believe, across the board from the childcare industry to the non-public schools, everybody agrees that some of these regulations are overburdensome and costly. And, my hope was that we would go in and we would look at that through the administrative process. And that path was available all year. But it just seems that a lot of schools don't want to be licensed. And, there's a lot of powerful institutions that are really pushing that.
We got just a minute or so left with Major Roger Williams talking about a few of the bills that are in front of the legislative session, literally right now. Have you got any kind of head count as to whether or not you think either one of these two is going to fly, like the whole way through?
It looks like obviously, I think 441, I think it's in its last phase now. So it looks like that will probably pass. But I think the big thing we also need to talk about, too, is the summer camp. They're lowering the summer camp age down to 3. And right now, summer camps, they don't even require background checks for their summer staff. So that's what one of these bills do as well. We were hoping that they would put in, some guardrails, some basic safety standards there for camps to follow. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen. We're going to open it up to 3 and 4-year-olds. And if these kind of things happen, with trained teachers during the school year, we're concerned about what could happen during the summer when a lot of these camps are staffed with high school and college kids. So there's a lot of concerns that we have. And, I guess we're just going to push something through. And I don't believe it's in the best interest of child safety. I think it has to do more with cost and money.
He is Major Roger Williams. I appreciate a couple of minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. Got one more break to go. We'll close it out next. I thought he was going to be in favor of this bill. I read this. Either I read him wrong or I read this wrong. Because I'm reading from the digest of the bill itself. It says it requires the Department of Education to conduct monitoring activities for compliance with the standards, including an annual unannounced site visit and prompt response to.
Oh, okay. Hello. Hi, kids.
Hey, how's it going? Bye, Facebook. We'll see y'all later.